Please like and subscribe in 2026 to help us buy a goat for a family in need. Thanks, and enjoy the video. Hi, this is Scott with Learn to Stop Hunger, and today we're going to look at Episode 8 of Publish Your First Game This Weekend with No-Cost AI Tooling. In this episode, we're going to try to add a track background to our game using sprites. And I wanted to show you the first thing that I did. Well, I did a little bit of work on the sprites that I'm not going to display within the video. I guess if people are interested enough, I could maybe show a little bit more of a tutorial on what exactly I did. But basically, I took the contents of going back to this racing pack of sprite sheets that we looked in our earlier episodes. I opened up the tiles here. Let's see. So I'm going to use my paint.net tool again. Let's see, paint.net. Okay. I opened up this tiles sprite sheet and I copied some stuff out of this side, these kind of road and track type tiles, and I pasted them into a new sprite sheet of my own and just did some various copies, pastes, rotates to come up with my own sprites, just trying to get like a basic, road type background with some maybe of the railings or markings on the side of each of the tracks. And I'm hopeful that I've got enough of those here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import that into my project. So we'll start out doing that. I've shown you this already in one of the earlier videos. Actually, it was episode 7. So what we do is we double click on the content.mgcb, and that's going to bring up our mgcb editor. And we need to go ahead and add an existing item, and then we go select our new sprite sheet, which I had in this racing pack, sprite sheets, and right here, track sprites. Okay, I will want to copy the file to the directory, and let's see, I'm going to save, and then I am going to do a build. So go ahead and do that. And it says the build succeeded. I guess I'll hit save one more time for good measure. Then I'll go ahead and close. I'll hit save all just in case. But that should be added now. So the next thing that we're going to have to do is provide a prompt to Google Gemini, kind of describe our sprite sheet and how it needs to be loaded in the background. What I did with that sprite sheet, I'll bring that back up again. I'm hopeful that the size of these will work okay. I know that the track is 50 pixels wide. Okay, so I made each one of these 50 by 50. You can see here at the bottom it says 50 by 50. And so I'll need to tell Gemini that I'm loading a 50 by 50 or a sheet of 50 by 50 sprites, and I'm going to have to provide some details about which sprite is located where, and hopefully it'll be able to load these and make things work out okay, but we may have to troubleshoot through it. So I will go ahead and bring up Gemini, the Gemini command prompt, and we will provide our prompt to Gemini. Alright, so I have provided a prompt. We'll see. This is kind of tough to describe, so we'll see how well this works out. I put, please use tracksprites.ping as a source for background images. There is a sheet of 12 50 by 50 sprites. These sprites should be loaded in the background behind the cars and the pellets. The background chosen should be roughly equivalent to what is currently displayed in terms of track border lines on the screen. Here's a map of the provided sprites, and then I gave this whole mapping. We're going to give this a shot and see what it can come up with here. No, it was actually trying to and it was trying to take care of the inclusion of the sprite sheet for us, but we already did that manually, so it wasn't needed. Well, we'll let Gemini work, and then once it's finished, we'll take a look at the results. Alright, so I gave it a try, and there was no visible difference. So we're going to go ahead and try another prompt here and see if it gets us anywhere. And I just got to scroll down to the bottom, and we'll paste it in. The background sprites are not visible. Please show them behind the other drawn objects. The outer edges of the screen should show the left border only sprite on the left side. I guess I'm describing each of the sprites as it should appear around the edge of the track, and then some directions as it gets further inside the track. We'll see if this gets us any closer. I'll give Gemini some time to work, and we'll look at the results. Gemini has come up with a solution, so we're going to look at the results. And this is great progress. I'm really surprised. Okay, now I think that the lane changing detection might be a little bit off now, but it definitely made... Okay, so that one worked. I was going to see... Okay, so it seems like it's not letting me change lanes. I'm holding down on the arrow key. So it's not letting me change lanes at all on the right hand side of the screen or the bottom part of the screen. Yes, that's true. I'm just trying to go a different way here. Different way again. So the right hand side of the screen and the bottom part of the screen, the lane changing is not working. Okay? And then I'd say I need in the middle of the screen, we need to put some inner boundaries there. So, but we are making great progress, and it's actually, you know, much better than I would have guessed on that prompt. So great progress. We'll keep going here. I'd say the next thing I want to do is to put the middle boundary in. So now we're going to provide the prompt to try to draw the inner boundary. So I said, please use the appropriate background sprites to create a visible boundary to the inside of the innermost lane. There do not need to be any gaps on the inner boundary. The same sprites should be used as were used for the very outside track, but of course fewer tiles will be used since it is smaller in size. I'm going to give Gemini some time to work on this, and we will check back on the results. Okay, let's see, Gemini is finished. Let's just take a quick look here. And unfortunately there's no visible change, so we need to work on it some more. Okay, we're going to give this another shot. I said the inner track boundary is still not visible. Inside the inner track line, please use the left only sprite, top only sprite, right only sprite, bottom only sprite, and the corner sprites to make an inner rectangle without any gaps. So if this doesn't work, I'll probably have to get very, very specific and give extremely detailed directions so it understands better. Gemini is done making its changes, so it's time to review. And it looks like it got it. We've got that center rectangle now. That's what I was asking for. So the next thing that I think we need to work on is the problem with the gap changing issue. I'll probably go ahead and commit changes up to this point, but then we need to work on our gap changing. I meant lane changing at the gaps. So that needs some work. Okay, if I'm remembering correctly, I think there was some extraneous logic in here before that was causing us problems. And when we got rid of it, it fixed the lane changing issues. So I'm going to try to do that here. I'm just going to comment this stuff out for the moment. So I'm highly suspicious that things are going to start to work again once I just comment that out. Let's go ahead and try that. We'll see if this makes any positive improvement for us. Oh, yep, I can definitely change tracks there. Okay, I ran into the computer. So let's try to change just one or two. Okay. And we got a crash. I'm just trying to make sure I can actually change at every... Okay, I changed there. Yep, okay. Looks like I can do it. So yeah, that was the difference maker. So I'm going to go ahead and remove, just go ahead and remove that stuff. I might even, let's see. Looks like I'm having a little bit of a problem there grabbing that. Let's go to the beginning. Okay, here we go. Just delete, and we'll delete this. Delete and delete. Okay. Save that. We'll commit our changes. Load road sprites as background. I'm going to actually, I don't know how much difference this makes, but just for context, I'm going to say I removed some extraneous logic from track.is@gap, which fixed some issues with changing lanes. Oops, lanes. Do not add these removed lines of code back again. Alright. Hopefully it won't try to make any more changes, but I did actually, I committed the changes, so I should be okay on that, hopefully. And then hopefully it's not okay. Gemini, okay, the current simplified version should be preserved. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so it added a memory. Interesting. Okay. I've not done that before. So the next thing will be I wondered about making those pellets a little bit bigger. I'd like to do that too. Maybe to have them stand out a little bit more with that background being added. Let's see if we can do that next. Okay, and I've got a prompt for the pellets. The pellets don't show up as well over the new tiled background. Please make the pellets slightly larger so that they stand out more. So we're going to let Gemini have a try at that, and we will come back to see the results. Gemini is done making changes. We'll look at the results. We were trying to make the pellets bigger, and it does look like we got that. I was thinking about one thing is it kind of blends in with the borders of the track. I don't know if there's probably a different color that we could use that would stand out a little bit more. I'm not sure. Another thing is it might be nice if they were slightly rounded. I don't know how easy that would be to achieve, but we could try it. So we're going to try one more slight change on this to see what we think of it. Please make the pellets rounded and yellow in color. I'm not sure how easy the rounding will be for it. Hopefully it's not too difficult. So I checked the results, and once again we ended up getting no change. So I'm going to go ahead and try another round here. I put nothing changed about the pellet appearance. Please make them yellow and round. Well, for some reason now Gemini stopped and there's a build error, so we need to try to fix that. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, here we go with a new prompt to try to get it going again. It's very odd. It seemed like it stopped in the middle. Okay, here we go. Oh, it did run out of Pro usage limit, so we have to switch to Gemini Flash. So I said there's a build error now. Please fix that and finish implementing pellets that are rounded and yellow. So we'll see what Gemini can do about that. Gemini is done working, so we're going to look at the results. And immediately I can see a change here. Looks like this time it really did what I asked it to. Pellets are yellow, they're also rounded. Checking the lane changing logic. Oh gosh. Interesting. Let's look at this lane changing logic. Oh no. See, okay, feels like, okay, that's working. Feels like I've lost some of my lane changing again. We're going to find out here. Yep, it's happened again. I've lost the lane changing on the right side and the bottom side, so I need to look at that code again. Now, it did switch models, so, oh my gosh, yeah, it added the logic in again, this bad logic. So this is going to be really interesting, something to keep an eye on here. If we lose if our lane changing all of a sudden stops working, we know it's probably because this bad logic's been added in. Let's go ahead and build, try that out. We're really close here on wrapping things up for this episode. As long as the lane changing is working, we'll have met our goal for this episode. Yes, okay, it looks like it's working again. I'm going to change to 1. I'm going to do a change there. And yes, okay, so that is fixed. And I'm going to try to go ahead and cycle through. Well, I'll delete this out. We need to make sure what we did was for our commit, basically improved pellet appearance, right? Improved pellet appearance. Now, we switched models, so I don't know if that kind of messed with the memory there. It very well could have, I'm guessing. Let's see if I can cycle back to that. Okay, so yes, there, I'm repeating this again. I removed some extraneous logic from track.isAtGap, which fixed some issues with changing lanes. Do not add these removed lines of code back again. So hopefully it will remember this. And it's prompting me, apply this change. Let's see. Okay. We're allowing for this session. Alright, so it's done. It's saved that change. Hopefully we won't have that bad logic added in again. So this wraps up episode 8. We have loaded the track background, and we're going to be ready to move on to episode 9, which is going to be about adding audio to the game. So that should be interesting. Make sure that you tune in.